About how many certifications have you done, Microsoft related?
Now I think it's like 45 plus, and
Yeah.
but this is the thing, right? So
Hello everyone, welcome again to Niger Tech Bro. And today I have with me here Salman Chishti. Hello Salman.
hey Dami, great to be here with you again. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can see you're wearing the Microsoft Student Partner shirt. Not just
Yes.
story how we met.
Yeah. We met through that program. It's been like 3 years since we've started
Uh,
like doing that program. Well, that program's now gone. We have the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program, but yeah, still gotta keep the merch from that program. So
yeah,
you still have that shirt, right? So we've got like
I still have
limited. Yeah, it's like there's no more of these gonna be made. So we've got some what do they call it when it's like it's one of a kind. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I have mine. I guess I wouldn't be wearing it often so that it wouldn't look old.
Yeah, true. Like, I mean, I don't wear this much. It's I saw this and I'm doing a video with Dami. I'm like, hey, I'll wear this. Yeah, gotta represent.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So can you just tell my audience just about you, a little bit about you?
Yeah. So hi everyone. As Dami introduced me, I'm Salman Chishti. I'm currently studying computer science and artificial intelligence at university, and I live in London. So that's a bit about me. And yeah, nice to meet
Okay.
you.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Thanks for that. So basically just a couple of questions with you. I know you are a software programmer. You've done a couple of things which we would be getting into soon. But the major thing is you are in the tech industry, you are a programmer. Um, I just want to know at what point did you realize tech was for you? At what point did you realize you were going to study computer science?
Okay, so there's a few questions to sort of address there. So the first one being when did I realize tech was for me, or when did I sort of get into tech, right? So I didn't really go into tech thinking, hey, this is sort of like tech. I sort of went through like the gaming path. Like I was, hey, trying out like this game over here where it's like a racing game, or I'm trying out this game like Mario and stuff. And I sort
Mhm.
of got to the point where I was like, okay, well, this is cool, but there's only so much that the game developers make, like the companies, they will only make a certain amount of things. So I thought, okay, so this is where I could sort of do my own modifications instead. So you perhaps create your own skin textures or your own modifications to the game where, for example, in a video game, you might have one power up. Maybe you want to create your own power up, things like that. And that's sort of my journey into tech, I would say. But I grew up having luckily had access to like Windows and stuff, and through that sort of aided that whole journey of okay, if I want to make modifications, use Windows to do this and that. Um, then the next question, right, was why did I sort of go into studying computer science, and that
Yeah,
that
that's it.
sort of happened when I was 15, 16. So my school, it's had a speciality for ICT, which is information computer technologies, I believe, or information communication technologies. I don't know.
Yeah,
Basically, that's like Excel, Word, PowerPoint stuff, right? We have to do a bunch of mail merge and things like that. And that was nothing like computer science. It's like you don't code at all there. Perhaps like the closest you get is Excel there, which is pretty good anyway. And I don't even know, did I do Excel for that course? But anyway, I did that. So we did that like 2 years early, had to do this big exam thing. And then after that, when I was like 15, 16, I had to choose a bunch of subjects. So we all have to do like 12 subjects 12 subjects for like our GCSE exams at the time. And I got to choose a few, which like wanted to do. So I chose computer science, I chose design, like product design, I chose German and geography, I think it was. And these were subjects I chose, so computer science being one of them. Unfortunately, what I sort of found out was what we're doing in GCSE was just console. So you're just printing stuff to the console, or you're creating a star pattern in console, and you're learning a bunch about like logic and stuff. It's like you're not really tasked to create a full-on application, I guess. I don't think I was at least at that time. And so I sort of, in that sense, I was sort of backpedaling myself, because when I got in, like going back to the how I got into tech, eventually I started doing coding so that was like when I was 10, 11. But at the time I didn't know I was coding, I think. I was doing like assembly and stuff, right? And then I was like, okay, like 4 years later or so, well, maybe like 2, 3 years later, I think I was like, okay, I want to create plugins for Minecraft, which is, Microsoft owns Minecraft now. At the time, they didn't, and I remember them going through that transition period. And then I think after that was when I did computer science at school, and it was like console and stuff. It wasn't that in depth. And then I did A level, which was like the progression from GCSE, so another 2 years. And then I uploaded my video project on YouTube, which was like my rocket gravity assist simulation thing, which was, I wasn't studying physics at the time. I was actually studying psychology, computer science, and mathematics. But I ended up doing rocket science for my computer science project, which was kind of cool. I was reading like physics textbooks and stuff, and going on Wikipedia trying to learn about all this stuff. And I got that video still up, and I was actually looking at that with my mother the other day, because I was showing her my current project, and she was like, "Hey, is this like your one from school?" And then it went on to university, and that then it was just like, okay, internship and job sort of stuff. And now I'm in my final year. Got about less than a month left, and that's
Whoa, that's awesome. That's one journey, starting from Minecraft, from computer games precisely, to developing plugins for Minecraft, and then just down up like that. So that's interesting, knowing that you started doing things even before you chose the path. So from my school, you were developing plugins, right?
so I started off like trying to create like modifications and stuff when I was in primary school, I think it was, or just going into secondary school. So I was like 10, 11 at the time. And then that was the sort of the age.
Yeah. Just thinking about it, 10, 11. I'm thinking about what I knew then, and it's awesome. So just to help me, yeah. When you were doing those modifications, was it code based or just working with GUIs, or what exactly?
Uh-huh. So this was like the most like furthest away you can sort of think from GUI, because it was like assembly. So it's like
Oh,
most people, they start off coding doing like HTML, or they do like Java and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, at least you have a console output that you can see straight away, this is what like hello world. There was none of that for me. It was like I was staring at a bunch of hexadecimal code and like floating point values, trying to change stuff here and there and try to see, okay, how does this work? And like it was a whole like think of like reverse engineering. You know how if you go into a new project, you have to reverse engineer what this code means. I was trying to reverse engineer like hexadecimal code with which made there was nothing in there. Like there was no plain text. It was just like numbers and letters, which like looked like gibberish. And so that's that was yeah, no GUI at all. But it was fun. That was fun.
That's crazy, I must say. I would say that the first time I saw assembly language was in uni, and I believe that was in my third year in 5 years, and then we were introduced to the language. But to know that some people do it, move A to B, this kind of syntax, it's actually very, very awesome. Very, very awesome. So yeah, I met you in the student partner community. We joined the community together, and can you just tell us about how that journey was, how you learned about the community, and before that community, what tech community were you also into?
Okay, so the Microsoft student partner community was the community I sort of found out about. I think I once heard about it from an MVP who I met at like an event, and I think after that I just kept getting like notifications on Twitter about it. I think I don't know exactly how like I ended up applying, but I remember applying like after first year, I think in the summer, and then hearing back like in August or no
Oh,
early September, and that I was like on a hill. I was with my friend. We were like cycling and stuff. Um, and I got like the email and stuff. I was like, no way, no way did I get into this. And like I was like so shocked. And at the time I was also like going to be switching universities and moving as well, like in like a couple of weeks. So it was all like surreal to me. Um, and the other question that you said was, you know, what were the other communities I was part of, like tech communities beforehand? So I was part of the Windows Insider community, which is like a you know, like if you want to test out new features with Windows, hey, join the Windows Insider community, and that's a great one. And I would go to events and see other Windows Insiders. Windows Insider themselves can also invite people to events if they have any. And I had only I think in the summer I think or in that one year I think I went to like 2 official Windows Insider events and then some community ones, and
mm,
then or that might have been the you know one of them yeah yeah. Well, the dev tour was, I think, the following. No, the dev tour was, I think, around the same. Never mind, we go. But yeah, so there was that community, and then also in university. So I was the president of our computer science society before I
oh,
switched uni, and that was cool thing to be a part of. So I would try to run events, try to get Microsoft to speak at events, try to find anyone from Microsoft just to speak or to let us have an event together. And then yeah, I don't know. It's like that was literally I try so hard just to get I would like go to a bunch of these Microsoft events. And I would be like, hey, can I run a Microsoft event? Can I run a who can I speak to run a Microsoft event? Can I have a speaker come to our uni? Um, and stuff. So that was a lot of it. And then other stuff was like Minecraft communities and like other communities, like other people who would perhaps be into the same games and stuff like that. And yeah, That's pretty much it, I would say.
Oh yeah, that's actually nice. Just before we leave the whole student partner affair, um, how was the program to you? I know we both joined, but then how was the program? What were the learnings? How has it benefited you, basically?
So when we talk about the program, should I also cover the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program as well at the same
Yeah,
time? Okay,
from
so
it joined and the benefits of the program now.
so yeah, so the reason I asked that for anyone who's sort of watching is because so officially we had the Microsoft Student Partner program, which then ended, and then the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program came. So I'm
Wow.
just like, um, yeah, that's why I asked that question. So basically, anyone who is an existing Microsoft Student Partner could become a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and technically they're separate programs, but there's lots of people will sort of treat it as one. So regarding the programs, I would say what I've really learned from the program is that you can be given loads of like different opportunities and resources to be able to do a lot of these events and these speaking things, but a lot of it also then comes down to how do you work with others to also create stuff together. So, for example, I started working with other people, and then that made it easier to do like more stuff, right? So, like we used to run events like weekly, and I would be doing like multiple events in a week, and that was only I think doable because I was working with other people, and I like to sort of spread this thing, which I sort of learned, I think, when I was like 8 years old or something, is that team means like together everyone achieves more. So, so just yeah, that sort of thing is really great, and I found that with the community because I was transitioning, going from one university in first year to another university in second year to then doing a placement here and then going back to university. Because of doing a placement year, my current year group is now the year below
Oh,
which I was when I transferred. So every year I've had a different cohort basically because of a different uni and then a placement year when I was working with other people, not at university technically, or technically I was, but and then finally new people. So with that, it provided a very sort of stable community for me, and that was a nice thing. So, but now I'm gonna unfortunately be leaving that community, but I would like to sort of help out with them in the future and stuff if possible, and yeah, so yeah, I think working with the others has been a great thing, and yeah, that's I sort of say that that's like my favorite part about the program is that you have all these great opportunities to like talk with people, meet people. Like I'm talking to you. I wouldn't have known you if it
yeah.
wasn't for this program. And now we've known each other almost like 3 years. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. I think I also agree with you around the whole community. That's the biggest thing for me. Partnering with people to host events, learning from people. I know we had the whole what's this Google Ash Code, if I'm right? We
Hey.
participated in the whole Google Ash Code events with some other ambassadors. So yeah, it's actually a very, very awesome part. So yeah, I think this is one thing a lot of the viewers would really, really want to know. So I know you interned at Microsoft. I am kind of very, very interested around that basically. How did you get into Microsoft? Let me ask it that way.
Uh-huh.
How did you get into Microsoft?
Yeah, so that was through like applying and stuff, and eventually like getting the interview, and then it was
Mhm.
like, okay, well, so the role went for was like cloud solution architect role, and that was like very, I guess, Azure heavy. And having been in the Microsoft Student Partner Program at the time, it was still, I believe, yeah, it was still Microsoft Student Partner at the time, and I had done Azure stuff, and I had created like content surrounding, hey, this is how you do something with Azure, and I'd sort of done a bunch of like certifications as well. So I think that sort of helped in a sense, but I don't know, like it also it comes down to perhaps luck, getting the interview, and that sort of stuff I think helped me. But then at the same time, there's a bunch of people who got in without doing any of the Azure stuff, or without doing any certifications, or without having to like do a lot of these perhaps community things, like the Microsoft Student Partner thing. So like whilst I did do these things and then got the internship, like for people who are watching who don't have that perhaps experience, it's not a necessity, but I think that sort of helped. So I would say, yeah, that probably was a huge helper for getting in at least an interview. But at the time, I also, to caveat that the certifications, I did them after I think I had my interview. So I think I did a bunch of certifications, like 12 or something, or 11, I think it was, in a month or two after my interview. And those were, and when I say the number, I also don't want to come across as bragging or anything like that. I'm just trying to give a context to perhaps like what could or could not help. And those certifications, like, they weren't like advanced certifications. They're like MTA, so Microsoft Technology Associate and Microsoft Office Specialist ones. So people in high school, I know, will do Office Specialist ones, and MTA perhaps it's when you're perhaps a beginner. So it's Intro to C#.net or Intro to VB.net or Intro to HTML JavaScript. But I think like doing, or like any way you can sort of, I saw these at an event and I was like, okay, I'll just do them because they were free. They were free. That's the thing about these certs, is that also it might be like, hey, they cost a lot. There's a, like, currently, if people are looking at certifications, they are free currently for students. So you have like the fundamentals, Azure fundamentals. I believe all of the fundamentals now are free for students. So yeah, if you can, I would suggest doing those. But again, not necessary.
Yeah. I know at some point you had about 20 or 20 plus certifications done. About how many certifications have you done, Microsoft related?
Now I think it's like 45 plus, and
Yeah.
but this is the thing, right? So when I started my internship, I was like, okay, well, this is, I've already done this certification sort of journey already. Let's see how many I can do in the year. And that was one of the things. I was like, not necessarily like how many can I do in a year, but I was like, okay, I'll see if I can do more, and I'll set my goal to be like an expert level certification. Like my high level goal to get like a certification which people need to like they like people who are perhaps years into the industry will do. And again, I don't mean that to say it to brag about it, but I say that to say because the reason I did that was because I wanted to sort of see, okay, if something is said that is going to be this difficult, can I prove that, hey, students can do it if they apply their mind to it? So I set this huge goal. I was like, okay, well, I want to get this certificate by like 6 months or 7 months in. And then that was, yeah, I got it like 7 months in, I think. I think I wanted to do it at the end of 6 months, but then because of holiday, there's less exam time scheduling things. And
Oh,
so I sort of set that goal for myself at the beginning. Sometimes people, and for context, so this was my placement year internship, so it's a 12 months one. So typically internships are like 3 months. So so I had a lot more time to get into the Azure stuff and to get to that level. And with like that was the goal I set. So other interns perhaps and may not want to choose to have that goal, and they might want to choose to have another goal. For example, working with a certain customer or developing this or making a contribution. It all can depend on what goals you want to set. So I sort of already had that goal in mind. So that's why I wanted to. That's why I worked towards. And yeah, it's not wrong or right to do that. It's all like personal preference.
okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah. Also, around the whole certification thing, I believe the certifications I've written, all the certifications I've written, I got them for free while I was still a student. So, sure, if you're looking, you would see, especially for the entry-level certificates, fundamentals, associates, and co. So yeah, just about Microsoft. I know you entered as a cloud advocate. What's the title again?
Cloud solution architect.
Oh, cloud solution architect. Yeah, and I know you did a video once, which is on YouTube. I would try and link it somewhere, yeah, so people can see a day in the life of a cloud solution architect. Um, Upon getting to Microsoft, I've had a lot of things. I've read a lot of blogs, watched a lot of videos about a day in Microsoft and co. What's where the culture shock to you? What's where the culture shock, and what did you also love about Microsoft or being a staff at Microsoft?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so the biggest thing, I wouldn't say it's like a shock, but I think the biggest thing to me, what I sort of thought about before joining officially was, will I like it as much as I do from the outside? Because and then going in, right? Because I'm a huge fanboy of Microsoft. I will advocate for Microsoft, Windows, Teams, etc. Like it's like I do really like Microsoft. Okay, so that for me was something which I had that like sort of real love for it before joining, and I didn't know if it would be like that sorry, after joining. So that was one of the things I was kind of thinking, will I or will I not? And one way I sort of tackled that beforehand was doing like open source. Open source. I don't think I at the time thought, okay, this is how I'm going to find out if I like working there or not. But I eventually just started doing a bunch of stuff on GitHub with Microsoft open source. And with that, when you create a pull request, you get comments and reviews by staff at Microsoft. So if you think about what someone does at Microsoft, they're probably going to be, if they're like a software engineer, doing code stuff, creating pull requests, getting it reviewed. The only parts missing perhaps is that I'm not having meetings with the people on GitHub. So that was one way, and I did really like it. And that was like me trying out software engineering stuff, and no, it was nice. And okay, so going in, luckily, it was like, yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I really loved it, and that wasn't like a shock in that sense. I was just sort of happy that it was like because the worst case scenario was like, oh, I hate this. But no, it wasn't like that. So that was lucky in that sense, I guess. And I think I think perhaps not a shock, but a cool thing I think, which is really awesome, is that being able to, you know, just so we have Teams, right? So with Teams, Microsoft makes Microsoft Teams. It was just so I was like virtual for a lot of it, and like pretty much all of it, I was like virtual, and like being able to just like reach out and communicate with like loads of people in the organization was really awesome, and being able to, I think the like a really cool, like I guess maybe not shock, but a cool thing about it was you don't really have to book a like official like room to meet someone somewhere. And with my role of being a cloud solution architect, the thing is, in when you're in person, you might have to meet a lot of customers in person. So like traveling on the tube or on the train, going here and there, perhaps even like going outside of the country just to see a customer will take a lot of time. So I think a positive thing was that being remote allowed you to sort of do more because like you could literally hop from meeting to meeting. And that was a cool thing. Now, when people go back to more in-person stuff, it's like it becomes more okay. Yeah, you have to do that sort of meeting thing. Like I was at an event like 2 months ago, and like we would have customers coming to the Microsoft booth, saying hey, or like having meetings with Microsoft staff and stuff. So the yeah, that was that's something I didn't necessarily get to do so much, but yeah, that was one thing.
Oh, that's very nice. Basically, I think you really enjoyed the virtual experience, and well, I know that I saw a video also on your YouTube where you were doing a review of the office, or you were doing a day in the office. So, when was that?
So that was towards the end of my cloud solution architecture internship, and that was
Oh,
at the Microsoft Paddington office. That was really nice. I got to go around and see the office and hang out with some of my employee friends and stuff, and it was really great because sometimes it's just like you can perhaps lose that human connection when you're always on a meeting every single day, just virtually, and like being able to like see and walk around and like eat food outside it's a luxury perhaps that some like myself, I didn't really do much of in the past, I guess. So it was something I could like feel like, hey, this is something this is something cool. Like the small things in life perhaps are the nice things that you get to appreciate once you've been virtual so much. Yeah.
so yeah, thanks for the whole description of Microsoft and interning at Microsoft. In your video, A Day in the Life of a Cloud Solution Architect, I saw that you were doing some testings or playing around with the Microsoft Hololens. And then I was wondering, is it for work? Was it a side project? What's it about?
Yeah, so okay, so that's a very good question, and yeah, that was you paid attention in the video, so that was only on screen I think for like a few seconds or so, and but a lot of it I think was the perhaps was me coding stuff for the HoloLens, which as well, but the HoloLens wearing wasn't for much of the video, but yeah, so. In terms of HoloLens stuff, was like you were asking, was it a side project or was it like part of my role and stuff? So this is something which I guess I've not really discussed so much beforehand. So I guess it's new information. I guess it's for Dami's channel and stuff. So you heard it here perhaps first. So I was doing multiple roles when I was interning at the beginning. So cloud solution architect was my main role, and then I was also doing like leading the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program for the UK region, and that was my like second role, I guess, and then I had another role which is to be a mixed reality demo developer specialist, or Azure mixed reality demo developer specialist. So basically trying to do stuff with HoloLens and Azure and stuff like that. So that's why I basically had a HoloLens 2 with me. And before that, so in an internship I did the year before, I worked with a HoloLens 1. It was supposed to be a HoloLens 2, but they hadn't got it yet. But I worked with a HoloLens 1, and then I sort of like had experience with it, and then had this new role to be a like mixed reality demo developer specialist too. And so that's why I had the HoloLens. But then also, because I had the HoloLens and I had experience doing this stuff, I could also do cloud solution architect stuff with the HoloLens. So if there were any customers who needed HoloLens or mixed reality stuff, because I had that experience, I perhaps could be that go-to person for a lot of the customers, because it's a very small niche, I would say. Like it's growing now a lot more in terms of like the metaverse and Meta, and even I think Amazon is starting to want to develop a mixed reality headset, and Apple apparently might want to. I don't know. But all of these things are like that's growing more. But yeah, but at the time perhaps it wasn't so popular. And yeah, like currently one of the projects I'm working on is a a mixed reality application, and it's like pretty much complete now. I'm just adding a bit more. But it's like you go to a supermarket and you scan items. It'll tell you the price, what recipes you can make with the item. It will also let you store. So this is using Microsoft Azure Spatial Anchors. It will store the location of the item in the physical location, and that will persist in the cloud, so that means other people can use their phone to also find these item locations. So the problem with supermarkets is that there's not really any indoor GPS. So this uses Azure Spatial Anchors, which uses custom vision underneath, and you can also add GPS. Then I've also added other stuff like speech, not speech to text yet. I think I'm going to add that next. But I did like OCR detection using Microsoft Computer Vision as well. I have a custom trained ML model basically for my recognition. And if that doesn't work, I can fall back to computer vision. So I'm using custom vision, computer vision, OCR, going to do translation as well. That's my mixed reality thing. Yes, I don't know why I started talking about that, but it sort of links, I guess, to my the other role I did. But that was more of like a side role. My main role was to do the cloud solution architect stuff, and I perhaps would specialize more in AI and data stuff, but then have this sub niche of mixed reality if there was any need for it. And yeah, that's how I sort of did that's how I got into HoloLens 2. But now like the app I'm doing is for mobile phone, because not everyone has a HoloLens. So I want to make it more accessible basically. And that's where like this OCR sort of comes in, like optical character recognition. It's like a really good use for that is, see if you have any food items. I don't have any lying around. But the ingredients is really hard to read because it's so small. So if you just scan it with your phone, you can see it bigger. So a lot of these things is to help aid and bring stuff to be more accessible to supermarkets and more customers in supermarkets. And you have like Amazon having their cashierless stores and stuff. You don't have to go to a cashier and scan items anymore. You just walk in and walk out with the items. So the problem here is that supermarkets don't have all this technology and this like advancement in tech. So why don't we just use mixed reality, use all the information which is already available, recipe information, and just provide that to a user. It's gone on a tangent, but yeah, that's something I've got there. So I might go after today to film a video for my university for that project. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a very, very nice idea. It's a startup on its own, basically. I can see this turn into a big business, and everyone in UK they use solutions like this. I'm looking forward to that actually. Just scanning things from your phone and then knowing where they are, getting more information about them. I know there are a couple of things like that, but then yours sound very, very nice. Basically, you've told us about how you got into Microsoft, the experience at Microsoft. Just personally now, as a developer, a tech person, I know one of the daily things we experience are things like bug, tech not working the way it should work, and cool. Basically, how do you handle situations like that, probably in programming when you face a difficult bug, or in your cloud solution architect when you're trying to structure something on Azure and it's not working the way due to you not understanding it well or something? How do you basically handle those challenges or technical challenges or technology challenges? Yeah.
Well, one of the things I would do is debug. So I always like to, if I can, because not always I can. Like, for example, if I'm talking about this stuff when it was creating these modifications for games, I couldn't really debug back then because I would have to like make a change and then do the whole process of running it and like installing everything and then see it. But luckily, like if I can debug, like I can with my mixed reality stuff, I'm able to put a breakpoint and then see, okay, is this working? Apart from if I want to do my Azure Spatial Anchor stuff, I can't debug that. I have to literally compile it onto my phone and then run it. So certain things I can't. And I can technically get a debug log. I can use like Android platform tools and stuff. But yeah, I would like to debug and stuff. And like for example, like just like 1 or 2 hours ago, I was creating a mock image, for example, when you scan images, because I can't access my Android camera on through my Unity. Technically, I guess I could set up a webcam and stuff. I just put in a like fake data and stuff, which I can test, like and stuff like that. The other thing, of course, is like doing searches on Bing or Google and being able to see, okay, well, has anyone else had this problem before? Is there a solution? Then perhaps I might go on GitHub and see a case, an issue regarding this. Perhaps it's not been filed before. I could create an issue, and then the other one, I guess, is just keeping at it for hours and hours and trying different solutions and methods. So like the first mixed reality application I built for HoloLens was like in 2019, and there was a bug with the Unity, I think, where the DLL files which were compiled would only go into I think it was the x86 folder, and I had to manually move them in after it's compiled. You know how if you compile an Android app, it creates uses Gradle or creates the APK and stuff. So imagine compiling with Unity, your project comes out your APK, but it just doesn't work. So you have to go in and sort of move DLL files around. You're like moving library files, which should already be in the correct place. So like, yeah, so sometimes there's just stuff where you have to sort of trial and error and like figure stuff out, which there's no one knows why. And like it's hard. Yeah, and then I think it's like taking it slowly and stuff, like especially with this app stuff, like the app which I have like for this mixed reality thing. At the beginning, all I had working was, what did I even have at the time? I like just getting a button to work and stuff. Like, okay, hey, can I update this with a button? Okay, understand that now. Okay, can I now connect to custom vision? Okay, well, custom vision doesn't have a native Unity package that I can use. So, okay, how do I figure this out? Okay, well, I download the NuGet package. Let me unzip it and change the extension of the NuGet file to open it up, and then take those files inside, put it into Unity and like the DLLs. Literally, I'm taking again, like in 2019, doing DLL stuff. I'm taking the DLLs, put it into my folder. Checked with Microsoft to see if perhaps there's a way to use if they have a custom vision, because they did have one, I think, for speech. They created one, I think, for one of their Microsoft Learn parts. They didn't have one for custom vision. So then I had to go with, okay, let me just do a REST API call. And then the problem is like, okay, well, if you're outside, if you're in a supermarket, perhaps the internet's not that good. So then I have to resize images and learn all these things and all these things. And then eventually it's like, okay, well, perhaps also before that, it's like, okay, can I do something with spatial anchors? Okay, can I join the two things up together? And then it's like building up on top. And like I only added OCR today. I think added persistence between sessions yesterday or the day before. So basically every single time you would open the app, you wouldn't be able to locate other items which have been scanned already. But then I only added that in yesterday. And I was basically like one of the things suggests, I know there's a place where I think Microsoft Learn says you should use Cosmos DB. I'm actually storing stuff in Google Sheets and doing like using like a way to like interact with Google Sheets via API calls, and then I'm like doing all this stuff. So and then it makes it a lot easier to use Google Sheets versus, say, just a pure API which has no like interface. The reason I like Cosmos DB probably could work like this, perhaps if you use the table API and stuff, but I haven't perhaps gone into that so much. The reason I didn't go into Cosmos DB was because I think it was down on the day. I had tweeted out, is Cosmos DB down in the UK? I eventually went to Google Sheets. Like the cool thing, I used another database as well after that, but then I thought, I don't want to use that database because my API key gives access to all my databases as well. So I don't want to give my university project my API key for that. So I'll just give them a unique one which goes into Google Sheets. Then the nice thing is I can just update the Google Sheets and then use that as mock data in my app. So I set a column to say yes for all of the variables or for certain variables, and then it will show up in my drop down in my app and stuff as items which have anchor IDs. Like this process of trying these things out, I'm just like experimenting. I don't know if anyone's built a mixed reality app using Google Sheets and stuff. One of the things, right, I ideally would like to use Excel and all these Microsoft tools. One of the things I wanted to do for my university project though is also show that I don't need to necessarily heavily rely on Microsoft technologies to build this product, because I wanted to show, hey, it works with other things. It's not just, hey, Microsoft works to like all of this. I mean, it's not all that, hey, Microsoft is providing everything for the solution. It's showing that it's a microservice architecture that you can swap things in and out. I'm just using the OCR from Microsoft though. I was going to use like some other ones, but they have really like low limits, like 100 a day and stuff. Recipe stuff, recipe information. I was using an API, but I hit like 85% of the limits within like the first day. So then I created my own API. And then after creating my own API, I went to the Google Sheets method. And then after that, I went to my other database method. But then I was like, hey, I wouldn't do this because of the API key sharing thing. A lot of it's just like trial and error, I think, and just like hacking stuff together. I don't think anyone would have expected me to use Google Sheets for this product, but it is what it is.
I remember a project I was once working on, and then I was supposed to connect to a DB. I was having issues with the DB, and then I just looked at it. I was like, Google Sheets is available there. I can manually see what I've just imputed, edit it to taste, and then work with it. And then
You've
from
done
that
it
day,
too, nice.
yeah. And then for the whole of that project, it's still live right now since about 2020, before the lockdown itself. I just use Google Sheets, and till now, whenever I'm going through my Google Sheet, I see the document updated 10 minutes ago, and I'm like, this is a whole database for something. And yeah, I basically understand. Um, I think I agree with you when it comes to like hacking of things when needed, Googling, trying to figure it out. So just to ask, if not tech, I know you said in your when you were choosing your course, you chose Java and some other courses. If not, what will you be right now? What will you be
Äh,
doing right now?
ich habe nicht so gut Deutsch. Ich habe 5 Jahre in meiner Schule Deutsch gelernt, aber ich möchte mein Deutsch verbessern.
What
I
are
don't know
you
if
saying?
you I don't know if you have German views. Yeah, so
Ah,
then I was sort of thinking I can make a joke about if I didn't do tech, I would be studying German full time.
that's Java.
Yeah, that was German.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
but yeah, I
nah.
was saying I would like to improve my German in the future. In the what I did technically I didn't say in the future, but in der Zukunft is in the future. Okay, so yeah, if I didn't do tech, I think I would be doing like some science subject. So I have this book. I think it's back there, and it's called How. Well, I think it's called How Things Work or How Cool Things Work. And I read that I think when I was like 8 years old, or like read parts of it. And when I was in primary school, I used to I think like go through encyclopedias or like read books about science and see how things work. Okay, so that's what I really like to do. And it was like, hey, I thought, okay, this is a really cool thing. Eventually, sort of fulfilled that niche with being able to do coding because you not only get to understand how things work, but you also get to build things. Where if you understand how a you know the how the wind affects a tree, and this has this effect, and then the plants look towards the sun, you can understand it and you can understand how things work, but you don't really get to build a plant. Like you can plant a seed, and that's about it. You don't influence like the osmosis of water and the photosynthesis. You can't really affect that apart from giving it some like sunlight at the window and stuff. So that was one thing. And then okay, so the other thing was when I was in year 7, I had so year 7, I think I was about 12, right? 11, 12. I had the opportunity to do a couple psychology classes. And I think I did like one in year 7. And then when I was in like year, a few years later, I think I had the opportunity to do like another one. And it was just like like 1 hour lesson, I think, and then another 1 hour lesson like years later. I eventually did psychology for A level, so that was like for 2 years. And that was super fun because like I would be learning about the memory, how to how it works, short-term memory, long-term memory, how attachments work, so like babies to their caregivers. I say caregivers because some people, for example, like in psychology, like we sort of understand to use the term caregivers because it could be a mother, it could be a father, right? It could be so it's sort of yeah. So the bond it could be anyone, right? So the bond can be created between the caregiver and the infant or the baby, the child. And you learn how that works, and there's stuff like mirroring, and that's like the baby does this, the mother also does this, and like they smile, the baby smiles and stuff. I was learning something recently as well, in that if you just go stone cold face, I don't know, like really serious to a baby, they perhaps will like start crying and stuff, even if you're
Oh,
there giving them the attention, but you're looking at them. But if you like interact with them and you do mirroring and stuff with it, like they perhaps will be happy and stuff. So like learning about these things is really interesting to me, like learning about how humans work, how the psychology behind things work, how conversations work, um understanding how the brain like is processing things. So like for example, you have your like hippocampus, or your front or whatever your is even I don't have sorry I don't even know what exactly everything is, but like you have your prefrontal cortex and everything, and understanding like the neurolimbic pathways, I think is the term, and all these different things as to like what dopamine and serotonin reuptake inhibitors and all these things are so cool, because it's like we're humans, we can influence. It's sort of like coding as well. Like you understand how you work as a human, you can implement stuff, and like sort of maximize and put your life to the full potential if you understand how you yourself as an individual works, and how to help others like in a good way, right? I don't mean to say, hey, learn psychology to do any manipulation and stuff, because there some people might do that. I mean to just to be a good human, for example, because obviously you can use anything you learn for bad and good. I mean, like obviously using it for good. Yeah, so I think I might have studied psychology. Science is always something I'm going to be interested in. I technically study science, computer science, but also computer science is also seen as a branch of mathematics, which might be news for some of you because I only found that out like a few weeks ago, I think. I think it depends on the uni as well, but because I'm in the science department for uni. So yeah, psychology, I think. I like if I was to tell you what books I read now, they're all like psychology books. Like the only books I really read are like psychology or biology stuff. Like computer science, I really enjoy coding, but I don't read about data structures in my spare time. Do you get what I mean? It's like I do that enough already, I think. So the thing is, the reason I didn't want to do psychology as well at uni, obviously I have to, if I was to choose, I did choose computer science over it. But if I was to say study psychology at uni, I don't think I would enjoy it that much, because I really love learning about it, but I don't want to have to do all these essays and have to like be forced into it. The way I went into computer science, right, was through having fun through gaming, and then eventually going to coding. And that's the way I like to teach coding to other people. It's like do it through fun. Like for example, go to Minecraft. There's make code. You can do block coding and Python coding, and that's something I've like shown before. And that's the same way with like psychology. I don't want to go into it having to force myself to do it in that sense. Like it's just like a fun thing. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
if you have passion about something, I think it's easier to like go far in it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. And also just to come back to something you said before, you said some schools see computer science as a branch of mathematics. I know, for instance, in my school year, Obafemi Awolowo University, we do like more of combined courses with computer science. So in the university, you can do computer science with mathematics and get a degree in both. Or I did computer science with economics. And yeah, I think there are also some schools that have more options, like with biology, with I think I only know about biology. But I'm sure that a lot of schools have probably some combinations or it's in a department, or it's like an extension of something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks so much for this. Just one more question. You basically have like a sweet story around how you got into tech. But then many people don't have this kind of sweet story. Some didn't start playing games, computer games, until they were at a certain age. For instance, for me, yeah, I think I started. At what year did I start playing computer games? Okay, I think around 7, 8. But then I didn't really know that there was anything outside of playing those games. I didn't know I could develop those kind of games and go like that. And then when I got into programming, it was until I entered uni. In my first year, I then dived into programming. So people have different experiences basically. But then the question would just be, um, what sort of advice, or what sort of yeah, I think it's just advice. What sort of advice will you give anyone that just wants to go into tech? So be it a small boy, be it someone of age 10, or a 20-year-old guy that wants to start programming, or like a 15-year-old guy, just someone about to enter school. What sort of
Mm-hmm.
advice will you give that person to have a successful path in tech?
Yeah, okay, so that's a hard question. So yeah, whether female, male, or anywhere in between, whatever, uh, right? So and any age, right? I would say if you want to get into it, like you want to get into it for the long term, right? So you want
Yeah.
to find it fun and enjoyable eventually, right? So if we think about, like, for example, habits, right? If anyone's read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and or Tiny Habits, um, by BJ Fogg, or The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I think his name's Charles Duhigg. Um, there's perhaps a recurring theme is that, like doing like things like in over a long period of time, okay, um, and building up this habit. Now, if you do it at the beginning where it's very like, oh, okay, it's challenging and it's very uh, very, you know, annoying, like, to do it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm just reading a textbook. Like I mentioned, like with psychology, you sort of want to enjoy it. So the great thing, like that's perhaps terrible advice for some subjects, because, for example, if I told you, hey, enjoy finance, but there's only perhaps a certain amount of aspects to finance that one could enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, like, yeah, because it's like, if you hate numbers, then how are you going to enjoy finance, right?
Can
Now
I
with
enjoy
tech,
it?
right? The lucky thing is that there's so many different fields in tech, right? So if someone was like to me, Salman, hey, do um you know uh, uh cybersecurity tech, like,
Okay.
hypothetically, perhaps I would say no, and I'm not saying I will. To me, I think it's still very interesting, but it's perhaps not so interesting to me as mixed reality and stuff like that. So, 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 so with that, I would suggest, if you can, look into tech, and before you start doing any of the tech stuff, sort of see, okay, what is it you want to do? Doesn't matter if you will do it now or not. If you can, that's better, because then it will help you'll have something you enjoy. If not, put it as like a goal. So if we think about my goal before of getting this certification, which people do, um, and like if it was perhaps seemed impossible, set that as like your goal and then work towards it. And at least that you have like a carrot at the end of the stick, sort of thing, where you're chasing it, and that it's going to be fun. So, like, because with tech, it if I told myself, right, 10 years ago, hey, you're going to be studying data structures and algorithms, I'm going to be doing a bunch of maths because like I'm doing computer science and AI. It's very maths heavy. Perhaps I wouldn't be so like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it, because would I want to study a branch of mathematics basically for like 10 plus years and go into the industry on it? Maybe not, maybe. But like if I think about it, instead of, okay, let's create games or modifications to games, let's create some like mixed reality stuff, let's help accessibility, people with disabilities and stuff. That to me is more meaningful, and it's more of something which I would like to like continue for even, I don't know, maybe 20 years plus, even from now, so it'll be like 30 years. So yeah, I would say that. And then just like there's loads of resources if you have an internet connection. But if not, there's people like Dami around you, and yeah. So ask Dami and stuff, and I'm sure he'll be able to help.
Yeah, that's actually cool. Just find something you would enjoy at the end of the day. So I think we are at the end of this chat session. Thank you very much, Salman, for coming on board.
One other thing, right? The thing is like the thing of I think the hard thing about the advice of do something you enjoy and passionate about, that's perhaps really like it's not always going to be the case perhaps where it's like I think people will say, yeah, you can't always work in something you're passionate about. So with that, I would like to also say that if you do it like when I was 10, right, I didn't think, hey, this is going to be my career, right? So and at this stage, right, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be a software engineer in my daily job, right? When I go into the workplace. So like for me, I still code, right? So coding and stuff, like when Danny mentioned the supermarket app thingy, that could be a startup idea, yeah, and I'd just do it on the side. So all these things, right? Like the thing is, if you enjoy it, you will do it like in your spare time, and then eventually you can make money from it. I'm not saying I'm going to, but like that's a possibility if you want to go down that route. I think if I did release it, I'll probably do a free tier, and then maybe like if it's the fees, because I have to pay or use like Azure for this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's I don't think I'll get to this level, but if I do ever release it and it gets this big, then maybe I need to add some like tiered subscriptions. So yeah, so that's another way into it. Just create some products, perhaps. And
That's
and if you're a kid, okay, if you're a kid, Minecraft make code if you have a Microsoft Education account, like at school. If you're perhaps not wanting to do Minecraft average age, people who play it, 27 or 24, something like that. It's really high, so don't feel embarrassed if you're an adult playing it. If you're a kid, have fun with it as well. Like I remember when I got Minecraft, I actually thought this is a way I could get better with science. Okay, if you're in like the ages of like 10 to 17, still Minecraft perhaps. And then like after Minecraft, do something else, or like do some website creation, or like get your friends together and make like an app together. Like someone can PM it, someone can design it, and like someone can code it. That could be you. And then university, if you have the ability to take extra courses, then that would be good. And then yeah, if you're in the industry, look out for talks people do on career switching into tech. And I would suggest also Power Platform, because it's great. Because no code, low code, which can eventually turn into code. And I actually find it perhaps easier to code than Power Platform stuff, because Power Platform, you go into brackets for if statements and stuff like that. So it becomes confusing. But yeah.
Yeah. I just checked now. Average Minecraft player is 24-year-old male.
I was right.
Yeah, you're not so old. If you're 30, 40, you can still play.
I'm not at the age yet, so I'm still below the average age. Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? Another way to get into tech is, I think, is joining these programs. If you're a student, so the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a tech student to get in. But if you get in, there's loads of tech resources you can learn from, and like for example, working on people with like I did a hackathon with
Mm,
like Kushbu, Dawood, Sabiha, like
yeah.
ages ago, 2020. I did like hash code with like Dami and Ganesh. Um, and like that's fun. I used to do like practice like data structure and algorithm questions. Like I said, like perhaps data and structure. If I said to people, "Hey, yeah, do data structures and algorithms," it's gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun, is it? But if you do it with other people, it's fun. So like that's
Yeah.
another way to do it. Or like creating accountability partners or groups with people. I remember Donna Sarkar suggested that she was like created an accountability group, and I created this group I think with like some ambassadors, and I was like, this is what we're all gonna do, and we're gonna hold each other accountable for it. That was Donna's idea. So yeah, just sorry, I'm just going on.
Anyone can go into tech, irrespective of the age, but just also make sure you fancy it. I think that's also one thing. There is no use to going into tech if it's not your thing. But what do you think about that?
I think everyone, so okay, every single company in the world, I think now is like moving to tech stuff.
To tech,
So like,
yeah.
I remember someone posted on. This is really upsetting, but I remember I won't mention the upsetting thing, I guess, but I remember someone posting about them getting into like a certain company, and then a bunch of people going like, "Wait, they hire software engineers, they," and like it was a shock to them. And this company like makes drinks. And so it's like pretty much every company like it needs a website right now, like, especially during COVID. Like, how are people gonna survive? So um, like you don't have to get into tech by getting into tech. And when I say that, I mean like you don't have to go to tech by getting a software engineering role or cloud solution architect role or PM role and stuff. You can get into it through being at any role and then speaking to people and being like, "Hey, can I see the code?" And like sort of like that. You could like be work at and you can ask the developers, "Hey, can I help with the website, or can I learn a bit of SQL here and there?" And sort of build up from there, and then like you can learn from them, and then when you're comfortable enough, maybe you move into the team, or maybe you apply somewhere else. Yeah. There's so much to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people would find a lot of learnings and things they can go on with from this whole session. Thank you very much, Salman. So what are your handles, your social media handles, so
Uh,
people can follow you if they want to?
yes, so my social media is Salman MKC, pretty much on all my social medias. So that's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn. My LinkedIn will be my name though. Like my link is Salman MKC. But Salman Chishti, like feel free to ask me any questions. Happy to answer. And yeah, I like Dami mentioned, you can check out my day in the life video. He's been mentioning my like there's two different videos or a few I think. So there's the day in the life where I have the Hololens, but also one in person. So virtual and in person. And
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it has been an interesting session. I enjoyed the whole talk basically.